Hi there, TJ here with the Cougar Academy, bringing you a quick video on the first middle paragraph in our mini-series on how to write an essay. And this is actually going to go real quick. I think you're going to like this. So what we see here is working off of some of the material that we've gone over in previous videos. First of all, we have the topic that we're supposed to be writing to up here in black. Then we have the introduction that we wrote in our previous video right here. And now we're going to be working on the middle paragraph, and the information that we need in that comes from our essay outline. And remember, you can get this essay outline at thecougaracademy.com, and you can print it off there. It's really good. It's really handy to have this in front of you as you work through your essay. And also, we'll be consulting our brainstorming, our pre-writing exercise that we did previously, where we came up with the actual ideas that we'll be writing on in our essay. So now in this paragraph, we're focusing on the first idea, which, as you recall, was feeding and watering our pet. Now, when we wrote it up in our introduction, if you recall, we made it a little shorter in just saying that, oh, we're going to be feeding our pet and not including the watering as a separate word in there, because when we feed our pet, basically you're feeding them food and you're also feeding them water. So I'm just going to incorporate that all into one kind of idea. Now watch what I'm going to do here. This is what I wrote in my introduction. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to start my paragraph right below my introduction. I'm going to indent 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to paste in word for word that sentence that I wrote in my introduction. And you could actually just start off your paragraph just like this. Perfect. There is my topic sentence right here. What my whole paragraph is about. What is it about? It's about how a good pet owner feeds their pet regularly. Now I have to explain what I mean by that. So what that is called is developing and providing detail for your idea, for your statement. Now you can provide a story, you can provide some facts, or some other type of evidence to prove your idea. And what I like, if you can, is to just do a story. Because remember that in our previous video when we were doing with the pre-writing, I just kind of said in a couple of sentences, you know, I have to feed my dog regularly, and usually I feed my dog when I feed myself. So first thing in the morning when I have breakfast, I feed myself and I feed my dog. And then in the evening, when I prepare dinner to feed myself, I feed my dog. So as a good pet owner, I'm making sure I have a routine that I'm feeding my pet on a regular basis. All right, cool. What I just said, what I just told you there is the story I can tell in my essay. And I can use that word for word. That's the cool part of it. So here I'm just kind of telling you about what I do. Well, I just write that in my essay. So it's really easy if you could kind of speak from your own experience, or even talking about someone else who does this, and you tell a little story. That's the story you use in your essay. It's perfect. So let me do that right here. And I always like to start off a story with these words, for example. And later on we can talk about other phrases or terms that you could use. For example, you could use for instance, or go right into it. And I'll go into that more later. But let's just use this. For example, I have a routine when I feed and provide water for my dog. Basically, when I feed myself, I feed my dog. Having a routine helps me to feed my dog on a regular basis, and this makes me a good pet owner. Done. That's it. There's your middle paragraph. Okay, I got a couple of little errors here. No problem. I'll fix those quickly. Later, I can go back and change the wording here. You might think, oh, TJ, it's kind of redundant, and should I change the words around, make it more exciting? Sure, you could do that, but keep in mind that when you write an essay, it is kind of redundant. It is kind of repetitive. That's kind of the idea. You're trying to convey an idea, a certain concept to your reader, and sometimes you have to repeat it over and over again. Like if you have animals yourself, you realize that you have to tell them often, or, even like with friends, not to, compare friends to our animals, but, as people, even myself, I have to hear things over and over again before I get it in my head sometimes. That's the same thing with an essay. We have to repeat ourselves to help our reader to understand what we're getting at. All right, folks, that's it. That's our first middle paragraph. Our next video, we'll go into our second middle paragraph, and we'll kind of follow the same routine here. Now, be sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you don't miss our future videos that are coming out. Also, people have really given me some really great feedback regarding the GED tips and tricks, which is a ongoing newsletter type thing that I send out every couple of days to people who sign up for it. And they said it really helps them to get motivated to pass their GED, and really gives them some good ideas about how to approach that. So if you go to the website, thecougaracademy.com, you can sign up for that there. Free, no charge. Check it out. All right, folks. See you next time.